Good morning, children. In the last class, we were already started the discussion with respect to the chapter the reproductive health. In that one, we were already discussed the meaning of the reproductive health and problems and strategies. In that one, we were discussed about the various topics like overpopulation, sex education, knowledge about the birth control methods and care of mother and child, awareness about social evils, and also we were discussed about what is the importance of the implement of the reproductive health programs. Also we were discussed about the population explosion and birth control, isn't it? In that one we were already started the discussion actually. Let us recall all those things and we will continue. Once we will recall the meaning of the family planning program, the family planning methods, they are also known as contraceptive methods, isn't it? Then what is the meaning of family planning program? The planning for a small family by adopting scientific methods of birth control methods is called family planning. Okay, so then the prevention of conception is called contraception, and the methods adopted to prevent the conceptions are called contraceptive methods, isn't it? And also, so the properties, when it comes to the properties of an ideal contraceptives, yes, of course we also discussed about these things. So let me to give the connection to the next topic. That's why we are discussing once again. It should be user friendly. So that means an ideal contraceptives should be user friendly. Then it should be easily available to all. Then also it should be very effective and reversible. No or least side effects, should not interfere with the sexual drive or desire, or we can also say and sexual act. So then only, so these things will utilize as the peoples. Okay, so then, so when it comes to the contraceptive methods, let us start the discussion with respect to the today's topic, the contraceptive methods. The contraceptive methods are broadly classified into, that means majorly they are classified into two types: temporary methods and permanent methods, isn't it? The temporary methods are, again it will be classified into four types: the natural or traditional methods, barrier methods, intrauterine devices, they are also known as IUDs, then oral contraceptive methods or oral contraceptions. And when it comes to the permanent methods, that is vasectomy and tubectomy, this permanent method is also known as surgical methods or sterilization. Okay, so let us continue one by one. We will discuss one by one. So here the question arises: is birth control is essential? Yes, the birth control is essential too, because of these following aspects. First of all, we have to control overpopulation, isn't it? Yeah. Then maintain healthy small family. Okay. Then to provide better education to all. If there will be 10 children in the home or half dozen, how can they provide better education to the all? Isn't it? At least if they would have one or two children, they can provide better the best education, isn't it? Yeah. Then to avoid the pollution, if the population increases, early as much as possible they start utilizing the resources, then it leads to the pollution also, isn't it? That's why to avoid the pollution, as well as to control over exploitation of natural resources. This is very important. Okay, yeah. So because of following aspects, the birth control is very essential nowadays. Okay, let us start the discussion one by one. As I said, the natural or traditional method, which is comes under the temporary method. Okay, so these temporary methods, they are nothing but, so there are several kinds of temporary methods can be adopted to prevent the pregnancy for time being or to postpone to have a child. Okay, so this is actually temporary. So then it is also known as traditional from the earlier only. Okay, so they were adopted from the earlier only. That's why they are considered as a traditional. Then, as I said here, the natural methods, that means the natural methods avoid the chances of sperm and ovum mating and thereby fertilization. What is the principle behind the natural method or traditional method? That means which avoids the chances of, that is mating, that is chances of sperm and ovum mating and thereby fertilization. Okay, so again, as I said, these are again subdivided into, these methods are subdivided into three types. And that one, first one is periodic abstinence. The second one is coitus interruption, or it is also known as withdrawal method. Then the third one is lactational amenorrhea. Okay, so let us discuss one by one again briefly. Yeah, that one, first one. As I said, what is the meaning of the periodic abstinence? First of all, the periodic abstinence is one such method in which the couples avoid or abstain. Abstain is nothing but keep away from coitus from the day. So this is very important during the menstrual cycle. Okay, so they should abstain or keep away from coitus from day 10 to 17th of the menstrual cycle, when the ovulation could be expected. So this is also known as fertile period, right? Yeah, so in this period only, if they are able to avoid, as the chances of fertilization are very high during this period, and called fertile period, isn't it? So that's why if they follow this method, they can avoid the fertilization, isn't it? Yeah, so this is one of the temporary method. The next one, the coitus interruption, or it is also known as withdrawal method. It is another method in which the male partner withdraws his penis from the vagina just before ejaculation so as to avoid the insemination. That means during the sexual act or the intercourse. Okay, so before they are going to just releases into the semen into the vagina just before ejaculation. Okay, so as to avoid the insemination, so then they can prevent the, so that means fertilization. Okay, so then the next one is lactational amenorrhea. Yeah, so what is the meaning of lactational amenorrhea? It is an absence of menstruation and the fact that the menstrual cycle does not occur during the period of intense lactation following parturition. So therefore, as long as the mother breast feeds the child fully, the chances of conceptions are almost absent. Okay, so then, however, so this method has been reported to be effective only up to maximum period of 6 months. Remember, this is very important. So maximum period, that is 6 months following parturition, as no medicines or devices are used in these methods, so the side effects are almost absent, even though the chances of failure high among those who are following this method. So this is one of the drawback. Okay, so this is one of the drawback. That means even though the chances of failure high among those who are following these methods. That's what I said in the beginning. There are some cases we cannot predict exactly. It may be plus or minus 1. Okay, so and here it's also the cases. Okay, but generally, so we can by using this method we can prevent the, that means fertilization. So that's why, so this is also one of the traditional method or natural method. Okay, yeah. So then the next one is the barrier method. Okay. So again, let me to tell you what is the barrier method. In barrier method, the sperms and ovum are prevented from physically meeting with the help of barrier. Okay. Such methods are available for both male and females. Did you got it? Yeah. So that means barrier itself, that is considered as the methods, that means the sperms and ovumes are prevented from physical meeting with the help of the barrier. Okay. So then here the one of the popular the barrier nowadays we are using throughout the world actually. Okay. So you will not believe, more than 100 companies they are manufacturing condoms. Okay, throughout the world. Okay. Yeah. The condoms are barrier made of thin rubber or latex sheet, so that are used to cover the penis, that is male reproductive structure, in the male, or the vagina and cervix in case of the female. Okay, don't think that there are a number of cases. Some students they were asking earlier in the classes, the condoms is not meant for only males. It is also okay. So it is also manufactured for the purpose of females also. Then how it will work? Just before coitus, so that the ejaculated semen would be, that means would not enter into the female reproductive tract. That means it is stores inside the condoms only, so that this can prevent the conception. Okay, you must have heard about one of the popular brand of the condom for the male, that is Nerod. So there is a government. Yeah, so this is a government, the brand, one of the brand, popular brand. And remember, so use of this condom also protecting the users from contacting the STDs and AIDS. Both the male and female condoms are disposable and can also be self-inserted, and thereby gives the privacy to the user. So this question they can also ask like this: why the condoms are popular? Okay, yeah. See, like this they can ask the question. So why the condoms are very popular throughout the world? Yes, as I said, it protects the user from STDs, that is sexually transmitted diseases, and AIDS, and it is easily disposable. It can be self-inserted and thereby give privacy to the both male and female users. Okay, yeah. So as I said, what is the principle behind these condoms? That is, they prevent the physical meeting of sperms or ovum. Yeah. So here the left side they have given the picture, so that you can differentiate between the male and female condoms. Yes? Yeah. And the next one, so the barriers or the instruments, the diaphragms, cervical caps and voids. Here the left side in the slide they have given the pictures of the diaphragm, cervical caps and voids. Okay? Yes. So these are also used as barriers made of rubber, that is inserted into the female reproductive tract. Okay, so that to cover the cervical, that is nothing but cervix, during coitus, they prevent the conception by blocking the entry of sperms through the cervix. So this is the principle behind using these instruments, that means diaphragms, cervical caps and voids. So because sometimes they can ask what is the principle behind using these barriers like diaphragm, cervical caps and voids. Like that they can also ask the questions. Okay, so that means they prevent the conception by blocking the entry of sperms through the cervix. Okay, and also the spermicidal creams, jellies and foams are used along with these barriers to increase their contraceptive efficiency. Okay, so nowadays it is available in the market also. Okay, yeah. The next one is intrauterine devices, so which is also known as IUDs. So these devices are inserted by doctors or experts, nurses in the uterus through vagina. Okay, so this cannot be, the self-inserted. Okay, so this should be, trained, then only they can. So especially these devices are inserted by doctors or expert nurses only. Okay, so or else they cannot insert properly. That is a problem. Then again here the increase is the, what is the principle the behind, these IUDs. These IUDs increases phagocytosis of sperms with the uterus. So what is the phagocytosis? That is nothing but cell eating or cell engulfing. Okay, so this IUDs increases the cell engulfing or cell eating, the principle. Okay, so there is nothing but phagocytosis of the sperms within the uterus, and the copper ions released suppresses sperm motility and fertilizing capacity of the sperms. Okay, and here they are how it will be affects. So these IUDs are ideal methods to delay the pregnancy or to make especially the space between consecutive children. So then these IUDs are broadly divided into again three types: non-medicated IUDs, copper releasing IUDs, and hormone releasing IUDs. Let us discuss one by one. Types of IUDs. Non-medicated IUDs, they retard the sperm motility. Okay, so generally, so how it will be? Okay, so whatever they releases, the as I said, the copper, isn't it? The retard the sperm motility means they generally dissolves the motility structure, that is the tail, so that they cannot move further. Okay, so that they also have the spermicidal effects like lipis loop. Here the diagram they have given. Yes, if it is inserted inside the reproductive tract of the females, they retard the sperm motility. Then the next one is copper releasing. This is very effective one. Nowadays it is popularly using throughout the world. Okay, how it will be? So this copper ions suppresses the motility and fertilizing capacity of the sperms. Okay, so that they can prevent the motility and the fertilizing capacity of the sperms. Example, copper T. Here the diagram they have given. It is look like a T shape. That's why it is given the name. Then the copper 7, somewhat it is look like a 7. Then multi-loaded 375. So that is multi-load. Yeah. So these are all the intrauterine devices nowadays available in the market also. So then there is another one is hormone releasing IUDs. Okay, so this hormone releasing IUDs, how they will work? They make the uterus unsuitable for the implantation and the cervix hostile to the sperms. You know what is the meaning of implantation? That is nothing but fixation, right? When these hormone releasing IUDs, they make the uterus unsuitable for implantation, then there will be no implantation. Okay, and the cervix hostile to the sperms. Example, so one of the popular one nowadays they are using in the market, Progesterone and LNG20. Okay, one of the most effective IUDs available in the market. Okay, so and remember, so generally IUDs are ideal contraceptive for the females who want to delay the pregnancy and space between the children. The next one is oral contraception, or we can also say oral contraceptives. The oral administration of small doses of either progestogens or progestogens estrogen combination is another contraceptive method used by females. Okay, so they are used in the form of tablets, popularly called pills. If you, I think generally you people must have, heard about the terminology pills, isn't it? Oral contraceptive pills, isn't it? Yeah. So they are used in the form of tablets, so that's why generally they are called as pills. How it will works? Okay. So, and the question arises how they should be taken. The pills have to be taken daily for a period of 21 days, starting preferably within the first 5 days of menstrual cycle. Okay, then after a gap of 7 days, it has to be repeated in the same pattern till the female desires to prevent conception. Okay, so then, and they inhibit ovulation, that means the releasing of the ovum from the Graafian follicle, and implantation, as well as alter the quality of cervical mucus to prevent the entry of sperms, so that there will be no ovulation, no implantation, then there will be no further process only, isn't it? Yes. Here the pills are very effective with less side effect. The Saheli. Okay, so the Saheli, the new oral contraceptive for the females, contains a non-steroidal preparation. See, before this Saheli, so whatever they were prepared, so those were, generally called as steroidal preparation. Because of those, the steroidal preparation, earlier people they suffered with various, health issues. So that's why the Saheli, the new oral contraceptive for the female, contains a non-steroidal preparation. Okay, and it is developed by CDRI, Central Drug Research Institute in Lucknow. Okay, and it is a once a week pill with a very few side effects and high contraceptive value. Yeah, so that's why it is very popular nowadays. And remember, the progesterone alone or in the combination with the estrogen can also be used by females as injection or implants below the skin cells. Generally you must have heard about the injectables. So these are nothing but, as I said just now, the progestogens or progestogens estrogen combinations are used by females as injections or implants under the skins. Okay, and their mode of action is like that of pills, and their effective period are much longer. So now this is actually injectables are more popular in the foreign countries for the longer duration. Okay, so they are, most effective, but for much longer duration they are taking this method nowadays. The progestogens or progestogen estrogen combinations and IUDs are used as emergency contraceptive within 72 hours of coitus. So nowadays you must have observed the ads in the TV. Okay, so unwanted 72 like that. Okay, so that is nothing but they are the combination of progestogens or progestogen estrogen combination and IUDs. are used as emergency. So generally for what purpose? To avoid the unwanted pregnancy, that is due to the rape cases or sometimes casual intercourses. Okay. And the last one is, that's what I said, the permanent methods. Permanent methods, they are also known as surgical methods or sterilization. Okay. So let me to tell you why it is given the name. The surgical method is also known as sterilization method. It is generally advisable for both male and female partners as a terminal method to prevent, that is, any more pregnancies. But the thing is, fortunately, unfortunately, in India, the female generally sterilization method is more popular than the male. There are number of cases. Okay, the males they don't undergo these surgical methods. Only maximum cases females they are using these methods. Okay, so then the surgical inventions block gamete transport and thereby prevent the conception. This is the principle behind. Okay, but it is very effective, but reachability is poor. Yeah, so they are broadly classified as I said two types, that is types of the surgical method: vasectomy and tubectomy. Yeah, let us discuss one by one what is vasectomy and what is tubectomy. First one is vasectomy. So this is a method of male sterilization. It involves the surgical removal or tied up a small portion of each vas deferens. So that's why they have given the name vasectomy. An incision is made in the scrotum on each side. Then each vas deferens is tied at two places and the portion between the two ties is removed. Okay, so it prevents the passage of sperms into the urethra. Okay, so this is one of the permanent surgical method in males. So left side, I hope you can identify the cut portions of the vas deferens and tied up. The next one is tubectomy. Tubectomy is also known as tubal ligation. So this is a method of female sterilization. It involves a surgical removal of a small portions of each fallopian tube. Okay, then the fallopian tubes are identified and cut off. The cut ends are tied. It prevents the passage of ovum into the, that is, uterus, and does avoid the fertilization. Okay, so this is how. So nowadays they are using the both, that means temporary and permanent methods, to avoid the conception. And the question arises, so is there any side effects of anti-natural contraceptive methods? Yes, so there are number of cases. Okay, due to the anti-natural contraceptive methods, generally they suffer from nausea, abdominal pains, that is also sometimes severe abdominal pain. Sometimes it is also considered as irreversible reactions. Then breakthrough bleeding, irregular menstrual bleeding, and sometimes due to the regular usage of these contraceptives, it may lead to the breast cancer also. Okay, so these are all about the family planning methods or contraceptive methods. So that is nothing but temporary and permanent methods. Okay, so which is comes under the family planning program. Okay, let it be. So next class we will continue further things. What are the things we were discussed today? Today we were discussed about the meaning of the family planning, then family planning methods or contraceptive methods. In that one, the contraceptive methods are broadly classified into two types: temporary methods, permanent methods. In temporary method, again they are classified into 4 types: natural methods, barrier methods, uterine devices, and oral contraceptives. And what about the permanent methods? Vasectomy and tubectomy. Okay, so let it be. Next class we will continue with respect to there is another topic. Yeah, MTP, the medical termination of pregnancy. We will continue the next class with respect to the MTP. Thank you. Have a nice day.